It was a historic 2021 campaign for the UIW Cardinals. They won their first outright Southland Conference title, second title overall in school history. They won a school record 10 games, including their first FCS playoff win, knocking off SFA in overtime. Ended the year in the top 15 in both polls as well. First time they've ended in terms of the top 20 in the final rankings. It was a record-setting offense as well, but some change in the offseason. Head coach Eric Morris, All-American quarterback Cameron Ward departing for Washington State, but they bring in a terrific young offensive mind in G.J. Kinne, and we say hi to him now. First-year head coach, along with All-American wide receiver Taylor Grimes, three-time All-Conference linebacker Kelechi, Anyalebechi. Guys, so great to have you here. G.J., I'll start with you. I know you're a Texas guy. You're back home in a sense in the area. First head coaching job, though. You've got a terrific background of people you've learned from. What's this experience been like? How has the start of year one been for you so far at UIW?
Yeah, it's been great. Undefeated right now, so everyone loves me, but it's been really good. A lot of hard work, but having guys like Taylor and Kelechi, here with me and getting these guys going has been, really good.
When you think about this opportunity specifically and all the assistant jobs you've had and the different spots you've been, why are you prepared now for this opportunity at this time?
Yeah, I just think my background and the people I've been around, the coaches I've been around, really molded me for this opportunity. And I believe God, put me on this earth to coach football and to develop young men and mold young men. And so, yeah, it's exciting to be in San Antonio, excited to be back in Texas.
Taylor, I'll go to you here. You think about the season that you had personally, that the offense had. What has it been like so far meshing with Coach? I'm sure there are obviously some new offensive philosophies, maybe keeping some of what you've done. What have things been like so far?
Yeah, obviously it's going to be a little different bringing in a new staff and a new head coach, but for the most part, he's tried to keep everything the same. And, we're going to try to score as many points as we can like we did last year. So that's our philosophy on offense, score as many points as we can. So we're going to try to do that again this year.
Kelechi, same to you. Some different pieces on defense. You have a bunch of guys back, but the coaching staff is a little new. You've been here, I think it's 5 years. It probably feels like longer with how many of your games I've called. What's it been like being a leader of this group and trying to mesh some of the new pieces that you have?
All praise to the Most High. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And the new staff they bring in, too, is just a blessing. I feel like nothing can go wrong now. I feel like we have all the right pieces now. Amazing coach. Coach Packy, and Coach GJ bringing him in, it's just a blessing, him bringing that experience from him being in Miami for 6 years and, bringing that over here, it's just a blessing. I'm ready to, know what he knows to, just contract that mindset from him, being a great linebacker, especially for my second year playing linebacker. So, I'm still fresh to the position, so I'm real blessed to be in this position.
Coach, you mentioned all the mentors you've had, and I know one of them is a guy who currently is over at UTSA in terms of Coach Traylor. Tell us a little bit about how special that is to have both of you coaching at San Antonio schools for a guy you played for and obviously someone that you look up to and have that kind of relationship. What's that been like so far? Yeah,
Jeff's been awesome throughout the whole process. I got to play for him my senior year and just a guy that I've really leaned on throughout this whole process. We got to work together at SMU and Arkansas, and then continued that relationship at his different stops, so yeah, when we got to both to San Antonio, I'm going to be in the son's wedding, Jordan, and really excited about that, and Jeff's family to me, so being in San Antonio and getting to share our families and all that's been really special.
Take us through a little bit offensively, your philosophy. We've gotten so used to the air raid attack and all the different weapons. We saw the season that Taylor had last year, becoming an All-American. I'll ask him that in a second. But what's your style going to be? What's your philosophy? What's kind of your goal of what football team we'll see from UIW this year offensively?
Yeah, I think we're going to, keep things for the most part the same. Keeping Coach Makalefwich and promoting him to OC and letting him continue to coach the quarterbacks, and Jordan Shoemaker's O-line, run game coordinator, Clint Killo's the receiver coach and assistant head coach. So, retaining those three guys on offense, we wanted to keep as much the same as we could. And then obviously we're going to tweak some things. I'm going to bring in some things that I've done in the past and to continue to build this thing and evolve and every year is different. So we're going to suit the offensive skill set and the players we have.
I think about all the guys that you've learned under, and Doug Peterson, Chad Morris, Chip Kelly, Ryan Day. You can go down the line for a long time and list everyone. So you're taking, I'm guessing, pieces of everybody that you've learned from and then also applying what they've done here in the past.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly right. And been around, been very fortunate to be around some of the best, play callers, offensive minds, the game scene. And so just taking a little, bits and pieces of that. And like I said, combining that with what they've done here and been very successful. And I've been a fan of Eric Morse for a long time. He actually recruited my brother to Texas Tech, so we've had a relationship. And so he's helped with this process as well. So, I really appreciate him.
Taylor, in terms of the season that you had a year ago, I think about the start of your career at Illinois State. I know injuries were part of it for you and didn't get as many opportunities, but over 1,000 yards, the 15 touchdowns, led the FCS. You set pretty much every school record you can think of. A couple of games you were right near 200 receiving yards. What allowed you to be so successful last year? And now maybe defensive backs in the conference won't like to hear this. How do you get even better?
Well, like you said, at Illinois State, I was there for 3 years. And I kind of dealt with some injuries. But I think that kind of made me to the receiver, I am today. It made me work harder, through the rehab process because I tore my ACL my sophomore year, and that rehab process gets pretty tough. So, going through that, it made me tougher, made me stronger. And then getting here to UIW was just, it was a good opportunity here with the offense last year. We had some good players. And our offense just meshed really well last year, and we made a lot of big plays, so we're going to continue to do that this year.
Kelechi, similar question to you. I think about the first time you stepped on campus, you've been a tackling machine, and it's just gotten better and better. 130 tackles for you last year, top 5 mark in the FCS, and All-American season for you as well. Same kind of question. Where do you think you improved the most last year, and now how do you take your game to the next level?
How do I take my game to the next level is, like I said, with Coach DJ bringing in Coach Packey, that mindset, I feel like each phase of life, you get someone, a different mentor that brings you and builds you up as a better player each year. So I feel like this year, especially me being new to the position, linebacker, and me having a veteran coach, a very young veteran coach that I connect with very well, to just bring me up as a player, and then him just, impacting the rest of the players, impacting me to be better for everybody else around me. So I feel that's the best decision God put for me. I praise to God. I'm very blessed to be in the situation, and I'm grateful I stay here another year to play alongside Coach DJ.
Coach, I think about new coaches stepping in at the FCS level especially, and you're always wondering, okay, what's the quarterback situation going to be? It's hard to replace a guy like Cameron Ward. We know what he was able to do as a couple-time All-American. But to get a veteran like Lindsey Scott, who has done it not only at this level but in this conference, and a guy who has shown the ability to not only pass the ball but run the ball, what's it been like working with him so far? What have you and your staff seen from him so far?
Yeah, Lindsey's been tremendous. Exactly what you said. I think losing Cam, a talent like him, obviously was tough. And when Lindsey decided to hop in the portal, I didn't know much about him. Obviously, our coaching staff did. So when I started to recruit him and really get to know him as a person, and him getting into the building, he's been tremendous. He's really been that, first guy in, last guy out, extremely intelligent. And obviously he's learning a new system, but being able to get a veteran like Lindsey on our football team is exactly what we needed. So, I'm really excited about Lindsey and what he did this spring and continuing to do this summer as a leader. I think you kind of see him in the spring kind of filling everything out, trying to figure out where he stands. And then this summer really taking off as a leader and more of a vocal leader. But his athleticism and his arm talent is something that is very special, and I'm excited to work with him. And we got a couple other really good quarterbacks that they're going to battle out for during training camp. There's no starters named at any position. I think that's the best thing about what we have is the talent and the depth of our football team, and so it's going to be a battle during training camp, kind of like NFL mindset. Who's going to be the 53 stand-in and who's going to make the travel roster, and we're going to get after it. It's going to be a tough, hard training camp, and we need veteran leadership to show up, and hopefully Lindsey does that.
You led me into something I wanted to ask you too, Coach, which is you have the NFL background in the Giants system, the Jets, the Eagles, time in the CFL as well. How do you apply those experiences now to your first head coaching job and also sort of the way you go about molding your team?
Yeah, I think everyone always asks me what's the NFL like and the mindset, And I think the biggest thing the NFL taught me is, every day is a job interview. You're, especially in my position, low man on the totem pole, last man on the roster type guy, is that you got to bring it every day. And one bad throw, one bad, decision can impact your career tremendously. So we try to bring that every day to our program at UIW, and we bring it every day. And we got a great strength staff and Brett Huth, and he really embodies what we want to be as a Cardinal. And I think it starts there in the summer workouts, and they've done a great job.
Taylor, I was asking Coach about the quarterback situation and Lindsey coming in. For you personally, with the season you had working, obviously with Cameron, how do you now go about, whether it's Lindsey or someone else, some of the other guys that are mixing, gelling with them quickly and getting yourself back to where you were a year ago, but working with a new quarterback?
I think it's just gaining the trust of your quarterback. Your quarterback has to be able to trust that you'll make the play for him when the ball's in there. And that just takes repetition. Throughout the spring, I can tell the improvement with the quarterbacks and the timing with the receivers. So it's just getting as many reps as you can, for that first game, and that's it.
Kelechi, last year, and I think rightfully so, the offense got a lot of the storylines, but defensively, in terms of you guys being able to pull out some key wins, it was getting stops at the end. In this conference, there's not a day off in terms of the quarterbacks and who's available. I look at you guys from a preseason all-conference perspective, from an all-conference perspective a year ago. You led the way in honorees. You got 6 guys on defense who are preseason all-conference, and I think about the linebacking core you have, a couple terrific defensive backs, a guy like Isaiah Paul, Elliott Davidson, Brandon Richard, guys who have been around. Take me through the defense, where you feel like you guys are at, and just how much talent you have in terms of that side of the ball.
So on defense, it's not about the guys that are starting at the starting 11 when they walk on the field. We have a whole group of guys who are all starters. We have an amazing group of talent guys. So even if the preseason says who's this, who's that, who's that, I'm pretty sure, and I'll let you know now, we have a whole team full of first-team all-conference players. So I feel like us being with each other for 3 years, we built that strong relationship where we have that trust issue. And I wouldn't say we did really as much as we did last year. We didn't do that very good last year, just being honest with you. So we need to improve, and we'll improve, because we're not settling for less this year. Last year was all about the offense. That's a good thing too, but defense wins championships. So we can't play our part in every game. Can't be a high-scoring game because, offense and scoreboard, we're the one letting their offense score, So I feel like we have a different mindset this year, Go big or go home.
I'm going to put you on the spot here because I know you're a bright guy. In terms of schematically, you don't have to go too much into detail, but run, pass, are there certain things, third down, defense, anything specifically you guys have been talking about and really thinking about queuing in on in camp so far?
So Coach Becky, he's a new coach. We're still putting in our new defense and everything like that. So I really can't give you any schemes of any out packages and everything like that right now. But, week 1 against Southern Illinois, you'll see.
Smart man.
Hey, I figured I could ask him. Yeah. We are going to open up for Q&A now as well. So if you have a question for a coach or one of our student athletes, just to hold up your hand, state your name and affiliation, and we will do our best to find you. I think we got a couple people back over here.
Ashley Elam, KBMT Beaumont, and talked about it earlier, but y'all were kind of in the same situation we were, thinking that you were possibly going to be in another conference last minute. You're not. Same as Lamar. Did that create any kind of distractions or a little unusual situation for yourselves?
I don't believe so. We're focused on a tough task that first game with Southern Illinois, so I was letting Richard Duran and Dr. Evans handle that. We were just focused on our football team and improving every day.
Yeah, one up here.
For you guys, are you happy to be back in the league, be able to defend your title? If you left the league, obviously you couldn't defend it this way. You get to defend your title. What's that like?
In my opinion, football is football. It really doesn't matter who we play. If you love the game, it doesn't matter if we're playing Alabama or we're playing McNeese in our conference. Football is football. I'm ready to play. I'm excited for it. Even if we're in the WAC, we're going to go there and play UIW brand football. And if we're back in the Southland Conference, we're going to do the same that we did last year.
Anyone else question-wise for now? Coach, there was a question there a second ago. Schedule-wise, I think about you in year one, and obviously it starts with the non-conference before you're worried about Southland play. Southern Illinois, first of all, to start out, that's not an easy opponent. They've been a perennial FCS playoff contender, and then I think about a team like Nevada going on the road. What excites you most about the start of that schedule in front of you?
Yeah, it's a tough task. They're a really good football team, very well coached, got a veteran quarterback. I'm excited that it's in San Antonio. I hope it's 110 degrees out there, extremely hot. We're going to play fast. We're going to get after those guys, but, they're a very good team, and I think Kelechi said it best. We're focused on ourselves right now, but, that's a tough task week one.
One thing I meant to ask both of you guys, Kelechi and Taylor, a year ago, people probably forget this, but Youngstown State week one, it goes to overtime. You guys lose a 3-point game, and then I think you rattled off winning 10 of 11 and obviously winning a playoff game for the first time. And you were a yard shy of knocking off the reigning champs in Sam Houston. In terms of the start of the year, what were you guys able to do to kind of flip that switch after a tough loss week one and then carry it forward? And what's sort of the message to these guys this year about trying to get off to that great start?
Yeah, I think that game was it might have been the best thing for us that year because, we went to overtime and we ended up losing by a field goal. I think we kind of learned how to win after that. We played Prairie View week 2 and we beat them, and then we had a great win against Texas State week 3. And I think after that Texas State game, we proved to ourselves that we can win big-time games, and it kind of just rolled on to the next game. So I think we learned how to win big in close games. We played a lot of great games. The Southeastern game, Nichols and McNeese, they were obviously all tough tests. So I think we learned how to close out and finish games.
I was going to ask you, Kelechi, tell me about the ability to close for you guys last year. It was remarkable. I think about the Southeastern win and what you guys did there. Of course, the playoff win over SFA. Take me through kind of how you guys were able to learn to finish. It feels like that's kind of the next step of building a program and the culture, winning those close games.
So there was a lot of those close games. SFA, last game, first game, Youngstown, Southeast Louisiana. I wouldn't say we closed them out very well as we wanted to. Because we didn't live by the word dominance at the time. But I feel like this year is going to be a different story. Our brand, our code on defense is dominance. And our whole team definition is prominence. From the first game of the season to the last game of the season. Some guys may not understand the definition of prominence, but at the end of the season they understand the definition of it and why I said this team lives by the word prominence.
Coach, we talked offensively about what the team was able to accomplish last year. You're coming in, and we discussed kind of offensively the weapons you have, a guy like Taylor, a very talented receiving core. I think about the offensive line last year, too, a guy like Nash Jones, who should be an All-American with how good he is, a couple other guys who are returning. Take me through the value of having a line that good with you coming in your first year, what you've been most impressed with by them.
Yeah, I think coming into this thing, everyone, rightfully so, talks about the receivers and the quarterback situation. But I think we have one of the best, if not the best, O-lines in the whole FCS. So I've been really, pleased with that and what Coach Shoemaker's done. He's a great evaluator of talent. He's a great developer of talent. Like you said, headlined by Nash Jones at the left tackle position. You got Caleb Johnson and Reed Francis and Stanley Mark and Jameto Obibo and a couple other guys that have really, Dorian Strawn, don't want to leave him out, that have really kind of embraced that role of hey, we're gonna run the ball too. We're gonna do a great job protecting the quarterback, but we got to run the ball. And like Kelechi said, you got to play great defense to win championships, but you also got to be able to run the ball.
Taylor, take me through the weapons of this offense. A lot of guys back. I think about guys next to you like a Darian Chafin, a guy like Roger McCullough who's been there and done it. What do you see right now weapon-wise from this offense? Who are some guys you think could break out this year?
Yeah, like you said, Darian Chafin and Roger McCullough are they're veterans on this team, so they know the system very well. And Jalen Campbell's another guy who's a good player. We have a lot of veterans on the receiving core, and we have a lot of depth. We added some new guys this year, and we got pretty much everybody back. And then there's Marcus Cooper, who's a running back, who was a good player for us last year. So I think we have a lot more depth than we did last year, which is a good thing to have on a football team.
Kelechi, I wanted to ask you about this earlier, but for you and your development personally, I know something I was reading about earlier was that you've actually gone vegan in terms of that helping your progress and becoming the All-American linebacker now that you are. Can you take us a little bit through that process and moving? I think you've also kind of moved positions to mold yourself into that linebacker role. What's that process been like?
That process was like you going from high school to college, that transition over, a new mindset, a new culture, a new atmosphere, So I've been vegan for 3 years now, and that's been the best decision I made in my life, with me maintaining my weight, me been getting stronger in the weight room, and I feel like that's the biggest story of my life right now. Me going vegan, me become the player I am, me playing all 4 quarters and not getting tired, So that right there was a blessing, and I feel like that's something that God put in my life, put in front of me, and He said, okay, I have a better option for you. I'm not saying everybody should go vegan, this and that, but I feel like that was the best thing for me. I tried it, and I'm never looking back.
It's working out, man. I can tell you that for sure.
Working out.
If I could look like him,
I was scared I'd get tackled on the stage when I saw him with the ability he has had. Coach, final thing for you. As you look now ahead towards camp and what's kind of going to be the process here moving forward, kind of biggest goals you have in terms of camp, finding out, you talked about that, quote-unquote, the 53-man roster. It's a little bigger than that in college football. But biggest goals for you getting ready for that Week 1 game, what this team is going to have to do between now and then to get itself ready to defend a title.
Yeah, we have a lot of really good players and really talented coaches. But I think coming together as a team is number one. And then just the discipline aspect, I think that's something we really preached this spring is being disciplined, having mental and physical toughness. And, I think if we do those 2 things, we have a chance to be a really special football team. But we got to come together, and we have to have elite discipline in all areas.
Awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate the time so much. Best of luck this year. Best of luck defending the title, obviously, in year 1 for you. I know it's a busy one, too. You have another son at home, so I'm sure there's a lot going on in your life.
Yeah. Cooper, my newest son, really excited about that. And then Lincoln was very upset. He wanted to make sure and tell you that he sent me a Snapchat this morning. He was upset that he didn't, get an opportunity to come up here. So maybe next year we can do that. Yeah.
We'll make it out. We'll have a mic ready for him. I promise.
Perfect.
All right, we will take a break, come back with the newest member of the Southland Conference, Texas A&M Commerce, making their transition to Division I. We'll talk with head coach David Bailiff, student-athletes J.T. Smith, and D. Walker. We roll along with Southland Conference Football Media Day on ESPN+.